Hi, welcome to Business Tips with Michael Tobian. Today's discussion is how to resolve a conflict with a client. No matter how good your company is, at some point you're going to have to deal with conflict resolution with a client or a customer. It might be because your client is unreasonable or having a bad day and they're taking it out on you. It could be that the reason is that they're just upset and it's not your fault whatsoever, and you're being blamed. Or it could be that you or someone on your team screwed up or are not providing an adequate service or product. In any case, it's important to resolve the issue, and it's not always easy to do. So I hope I can give some good advice from my experience. I'll be covering the following topics today. Humbly determine your objective, prepare, make them feel heard and express sympathy, respectfully lay out your perspective, resolve the issue, and then to apologize or not to apologize. The first one is humbly determine your objective. This is the step that will most likely predict your outcome. If you want the outcome to be the best interest of your company long term, it might take a little bit of humility. Early in my career, I would approach these situations in a way that was extremely ineffective. My objective was basically not to look foolish and to make sure that the client knew I was right. What a terrible objective. I would let my pride get in the way of a results-oriented resolution. Nowadays, if I find myself in one of these situations, my focus tends to be centered around coming up with a positive resolution where my client feels that they were treated fairly. If I'm dealing with a particularly difficult client, this can be an ambitious goal, but I usually end up with a solution that's fair to both parties. Sometimes the client's attitude completely turns around and they express appreciation. Without a results-oriented objective, this would be a difficult outcome. All right, the next one is prepare. If you have an unhappy customer, you're likely going to hear about it in an email or review or some form of text first. Avoid the natural inclination to contact them immediately. With text, there's no pressure to respond right away. Most companies reference a past conversation or an incident that had occurred. Learn everything you can about the conflict so that you can speak intelligently about it. If you attempt to engage with your client and don't have all the facts, it's going to make the situation worse. If your client is clearly in the wrong, lay out a logical and bulletproof argument as to why. Hopefully you won't even have to use the argument, but you should know and understand your perspective before going into the discussion. The next one, make them feel heard and express sympathy. Many conflicts aren't actually about money or your services. Rather, they're about the way someone was made to feel. I remember an instance where I had to deal with a customer's concern about a financial matter. This client had more money than he knew what to do with. He didn't care about the money, nor would he probably have even noticed it gone in his bank account. But he felt like he wasn't being treated fairly, and everybody's going to have a problem with that, regardless of their financial situation. When they are expressing their concerns, listen to the entire thing. Avoid the urge to interrupt. I try not to even interject until they've expressed everything possible. When people feel that they are really heard and understood, they're much more willing to listen to the other perspective, especially if they feel sincere sympathy from you. Plus, if you listen to their argument, you will fully understand it. Your response won't be a straw man argument, and your conversation will be more productive. This part of the process is not about you, it's about them. The next step, respectfully lay out your perspective. If you or your company are in the wrong, skip this step. But if they are missing information or some explanation is needed, then do it in a way that's respectful and very logical. Oftentimes, after I listen and sympathize and then lay out a very logical viewpoint, the entire conflict is over right there. The customer often acknowledges that they were in the wrong or that they misunderstood. If there's still a disagreement, then at least there will be a mutual understanding of each other's positions, and the resolution should be smooth sailing. The next step, resolution. If you do a good enough job with the above steps, the client is likely to appreciate and agree to any reasonable resolution that you propose. If not, I'd suggest laying out what limitations each side has in the resolution and asking the client how they might propose solving the problem in a way that's fair. If they're so unreasonable that this is impossible, you may have to determine what the next steps are. If some kind of litigation or other measures are inevitable, you'll need to decide whether or not that's worth your time and energy. While deciding whether or not you should pursue the resolution through other means, try to remove emotions and pride from the equation and just make it a logical decision that's best for you, your business, and maybe even best for your customer. I rarely get to this point. Keeping customer relationships positive is of utmost importance to my businesses, so we go out of our way to provide an excellent customer experience and we resolve any issues immediately. All right, finally, to apologize or not to apologize. That is indeed the question many times in these situations. If I or my company did absolutely nothing wrong, I'm unlikely to apologize for the alleged offense. However, in most cases of conflict, something was not handled respectfully or with care. So I may find myself apologizing for the way something was handled. If we do something wrong, I always apologize and make it right. If it's a very serious matter with big consequences, you might want to talk to an attorney before even engaging further with your client. Your attorney might have advice for you in this regard. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I've got plenty more tips for running a business, so please subscribe and follow if you'd like to learn more of it. Thank you.